You are listening to the USDN on the DSPN.
It's a trap!
What is up, everybody, and welcome to the United States Department of Nerds, where we are for the people, by the people, and of the people. Some stories begin with legends. Others begin with the idea scribbled in a notebook. A sketch in the margins or a strange character that refuses to stay quiet. Sometimes the Wild West isn't filled with cowboys. Sometimes it's filled with wasps. Tonight on the USDN podcast, we step into a strange frontier, a buzzing frontier where creator imagination meets indie comics grit. A world called Once Upon a Hive in the West, a place where creator David Bidds is building something from the ground up. Not just a comic, but a label, a place called DiscoPunkcomics. Tonight, we talk about the journey of making comics independently, building a creative collective, and bringing a bizarre Western world to life. This is the story behind the Hive. The Council of Nerds is now in session. DK, welcome to the USDN.
Hey, man, welcome. I'm glad to be on, buddy.
So we got a little carried away, everybody, before we got started with a conversation we were having about ethical use of AI, which this comic does not have. We're just putting that out there. We were just having a conversation. We got carried away. We do apologize for that. But DK, let's start at the beginning, right? What first pulled you into comics as a creator?
It's I read my first comic when I was like 8 or 9. My buddy, his birthday party, got an issue of Blade, and I had a nightmare.
Nice.
And I did not start reading comics then. I was at a buddy's house in high school, and I read a random issue, and I don't remember it being a good one, of Invincible. And so, funny, I've been writing for a while. I've had daydreams and stories for a while. This may be basic to admit, but when Amazon started coming out with Invincible, I watched the first episode, and I was like, I've read this before. And immediately went online and got the omnibus and just tore through it. And from then I was hooked. I was probably 26, 25 at the time.
Yeah.
Followed it with everything Kirkman.
Got to. It's a must read for everybody, in my opinion.
It's such a great intro, and then you're already into such a great label with Image. And then if you go back in time with Image, and I think I've heard you talk about this on your other podcast, I won't regurgitate it too much, but the glory days, the Matt Spawn drew me in so much.
Yep.
It blew me away that y'all were willing to read so much in a comic back then, and reading Spawn or the Max. There's a lot of verbiage. But anyways, I was hooked. I've always written short stories and little novellas, tinier stories and whatnot. But I've been daydreaming of massive stories for a while. And then after yelling my stories to my friends for a long time, I decided, let's do it and just go into it.
Dude, that's a great way to do it. And the fact that Blade gave you a nightmare lets you know how great that comic book was in the 90s.
Yes. Yeah, I went back and faced that fear. Go ahead.
That most recent run of the Red Band of Blade was fantastic.
I have a list of need to reads a mile high, and they were interrupted by Absolute series that just came out. My daughter, I have turned into a huge Wonder Woman fan, so we're everything
Hmm.
Wonder Woman. She's too young to be checking out the awesome illustrations that they got there,
Yeah.
but she loves it, man. So honestly, most of the comics that I've been indulging that I'm not trying to write and produce have been with my kids. So it's been like a lot of
Yeah.
Spidey Gwen. They got a new series out that's going out.
Yep.
That'll be all right.
Yep.
But yeah, definitely need to check that. I think I read. I'm not even sure which run of Blade it was, but I went back and reread it probably about, I think it's no bigger than like 15, 20 issues. Check it
Oh
out.
yeah. And that's what I've always liked about Blade and Midnight Suns and those like smaller runs of some of the characters that I really enjoy. They get maybe 10 or 15 issues and that run is done. And then it
Yeah.
kind of goes dormant again for about 5 or 10 years, and then it pops back out onto shelves again. And honestly, I like that because it doesn't wear you out on the character.
Yeah. No, I agree. It was funny when I started getting really big into comics and going to comic shops. Um, the thousand different issues, and this I don't get yelled at because I'm a younger guy here, but the thousand different issues of X-Men that I needed to go into, all the different Avengers, all the different
Yeah.
DCs. I've found when it comes to Streamline, I'm more of a DC guy in the first place, and really have stuck to those.
Hmm.
And I think outside media, being video games, TV,
Yeah.
movies, has done so much recently for new types of fandom, and even as intelligent as DC incorporating injustice back and forth storylines from
Yeah.
a video game to the comic, which was one of my favorites by far, and one of my favorite games too. So it's kind of funny
Hmm.
that fandom gets to
Yeah.
tie
So
together.
I ended up getting the trade paperback of the Injustice run
Really,
because I wasn't collecting comic books at the time, but I loved the video game. And then it was like a random store wherever I was living at the time. And I seen the like omnibus or trade paperback for it. I was like, ooh, let me get
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So, but let's jump into Disco Punk comics. Where
Yeah.
did that come from?
Disco punk. Disco punk for a lot of reasons. Disco for a lot of reasons. Some that I won't get into. Yeah, I was always a big disco kid with my mom. It was always Sunday mornings cooking breakfast, Bee Gees in the background, Chic, all goofy disco. And then also, I used to play in a lot of metal bands and everything, or had a jam band in high school.
Hmm.
And so, a piece that I wrote a long time ago had a line in it by a character named Disco, which is when you take the life and love from disco, you're just left with metal. I won't get into it too much. My mother passed away when I was about 23, and for
Hmm.
a little bit, that kind of disco was gone, and it was the big metal scene and everything. And so, disco to me, is my favorite and my flagship character, but also just a big piece of me being able to move forward and create something. So I'm the disco punk, or I'm not, but that's the label.
No, I like it. And so we were talking before we had went live, but so is Disco Punk Comics intended to be a publisher, a creator collective, or what is Disco Punk at its heart?
So the goal of Disco Punk is to get to a place where we can offer guidance through the potholes that I'm learning to face as we
Hmm.
create. There's so many things that you don't know. I'd like at one point to be kind of an information hub for best practices for a number of things. I would love to publish a number of other individuals. My colorist on Once Upon a Hive, his name is Jorge Elias. He's actually runs his own fiction comics. But
Hmm.
he's needed help in a number of areas. And so, Disco Comics and Fiction Comics is bringing together, already. And so
Yeah.
I did not expect to be getting involved in other individuals' intellectual property so fast.
Yeah.
Once Upon a Hive, when this comes to publish in just a few months, this will be the first piece of mine of many projects in the work now.
Hmm.
But already getting an avenue to help. And so everything I'm learning on the way, passing that information to Jorge, and
Yeah.
he's got a great team over there with fiction too. So that there's a lot of avenues for me to look for letterers and a short notice and everything. So the
Hmm.
collective collaboration has been great. But yeah, I would like it to be a big collaboration hub. That's kind of the goal. as well, obviously and selfishly, to kick out all my writing. A place where I
You have
can
to.
indulge myself in my own art.
Yeah.
Um,
No, it's a must.
yeah, and so and I've had a number of people to me, come to me and say, "Hey, could I help get certain things off the ground?" Are
Mhm.
we at a place to where we're helping fund other people's projects? No.
Yeah.
We're at a place to where we're very open to help you with Kickstarter and get things taken care of, learn together as much as possible. Absolutely. And I think honestly, my favorite part of all this so far has just been the community. It's great working alongside people. Being a writer alone isn't as fun, I'll tell you that much.
No, I will say it doesn't matter which group you're in on Facebook. The indie comic book scene as a collective whole has been amazing. And I know there's a lot of groups that allow me to share like
Yeah.
the podcast in those groups. And I am so thankful that they allow me to do that because it literally keeps me booked months in advance. And it's
Yeah.
really awesome. So
It is.
it's just really amazing communities out there. And it's a lot of the same people within those communities. And they're all really great. So, but what has the indie journey or the indie comics journey been like so far as you've been building Disco Punk?
Oh, it's been an excuse to learn something. It's been learning that you've got a lot to learn and you're gonna keep learning. It's been great. It really has. I look at it two ways. I kind of got like one kind of goofy analogy. One is you're kind of going down a road, and like I said, the potholes that you're going through. There's a lot of bumps. There are other
Hey man,
people
where
have been
you
on
live,
that
there
road.
are plenty of them.
Yeah. So listen to the people that have driven to that road before. That's a big piece. But my biggest analogy though is, sometimes you're swimming in the waters you don't know. So it's like you're swimming, you got your head down, and then you touch a buoy, then you look up and you're like, oh gosh, look how far I've come. But
Mhm.
then it's also like, man, shore is so far away. All you can do is put your head down, keep swimming, find the next
Yep.
buoy. And but it's great. You get inspired, like you said, online in the community, people that have gone so much further than you, on more
Mhm.
buoys than you, further down that road. And all of them, for the most part, without any exception so far, have been nothing but giving with their knowledge and respectful.
Oh yeah, if you ask a question, you're going to get a
Yeah,
multitude of different answers that are they're very similar in nature, just
yeah.
different routes that person took to get there. So it really is phenomenal communities out there for that. But what would you say has been your biggest challenge so far with launching the label?
Wanting to do far more than I can do at a time. The biggest advice that has been from people is, hey man, just hey, because we have Once Upon a Hive. I'm working with Fiction Commons for Fiction Comics for the Fallen Seven. I have another. I'm doing a manga right now. It's called Ricky Ricky Recoil. I have a number of things going on,
Mhm.
webtoons. But it's not without planning. Before any of these even came to be, I was researching for a good 2 years. I was saving for a good 2 years. I was talking to creators in the field for 2 years, trying
Mhm.
to back other people's comics, see what's everything's going on. The biggest road bump or the biggest challenge, you ask? Um, like I said, just not making sure you can eat what's on your plate.
Yeah.
But I do think different people's labels have different purposes.
Mhm.
Majority of the time, what I see is, especially the first step out the door, seems to be usually superhero comics, a series, one world, and then you have your audience locking into that one world.
Yeah.
I do have some series that'll be coming out as well, but I also love like sci-fi one-offs and just good stories and short
Yeah.
and one shots.
I'm a huge one shot fan, and there's a lot of creators out there that do them really well.
Yeah.
It's within the same type of genre. It's just a
Mhm.
multitude of one shots. But those are some of my favorite comic books. So, but let's dive into Once Upon a Hive in the West.
Yeah.
What is Once Upon a Hive in the West?
It's a gritty imagination of a world, said very plain put, where bugs were the cowboys.
Mhm.
No, so it's actually a kind of a really good look at the life cycles of bugs through this lens of this Western spaghetti scope.
Mhm.
The story came to be in a really funny, silly way. Um, what it is essentially is going to be a 7-issue series. We have a Halloween special that follows our protagonist, Slick Paper Wing, and his kind of journey to be the first paper wasp to survive to the end of winter and live again. As some people may or may not know, life cycle of wasps, I'm going to nerd out for a split second, but like 95% of the population dies. All the males dies. Everybody dies except the queen. So there is a mass extinction, and then by next spring, the population has been reborn. And if you
Yeah.
were to look at that from a human perspective, it would be horrifying. And so many different facets within a bug's life is actually horrifying. And with the good Western tropes, there's a lot of things that I like that I've watched with my pop and through the years, like Cowboys versus Aliens. There's Cowboys
Yeah.
versus dinosaur movies. So there's a lot of space to play, and within all that space, it just wrote itself. Very character driven,
Yeah.
bug spaghetti Western with a whole bunch of kookiness and wackiness to spare.
No, it's been such a fun thing to watch on your Instagram. Like
Mhm.
the art coming together, the whole thing is just like a stroke of genius, you know what I'm saying? And it's just so fun. And when I was like, as I was like coming up with titles for this episode, I was like, I kept hitting on the Wild West, and I'm like, if I'm gonna do Wild West, it has to be Wild Wild West, but with Wasp. And it was just
Yeah.
one of those where I was like, it wrote itself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. In
Because
fact,
the character is just such a fun character. Your main protagonist, you know?
yeah. Well, and there's a switch up there, and I won't give too much away, and I'll probably end up I'll talk about it for a little bit, but I'll touch base on this too. There were so many opportunities with this. It was so hard to pin down a name
Mhm.
because there was so good, bad, and the ugly, good, bad, and the bugly.
Yeah.
No Country for Old Men, No Country for Old Wasps. But really, I wanted to kind of give an homage to kind of a lot of spaghetti westerns I used to watch growing up as a
Mhm.
kid. The classic Clint Eastwood's, the
Oh, yeah.
Fistful of Dollars trilogy, and of course, Once Upon a Time in the West. But it's not so much so. It's not just like a classic tale of you killed my paw. There really is a diverse spectrum to look at this when you start implementing the characteristics of the different type of bugs that may interact with a wasp in the community that's
Mhm.
actually built, and what is Bisbee, Arizona, that what I call the Hive Haven Holler.
Dude,
So
that's awesome.
it's a fun time. The inspiration for it was just the silliest thing. I am a bug guy. I like bugs. I take them out of the house instead of squashing them. Try to teach my kids that, and they're also pretty interesting to me. So you kind of just let them live a little bit. So there's a wasp nest that comes up in front of my house every single year. It's been there for the past 5 years. It comes down in wintertime. They're all dead, and it comes back by the
Mhm.
time of spring. It was winter about 2 years ago, and I'm walking with my daughter, and it was cold winter, and this wasp swooped down, zoom, and then took by, and she got scared. And I was just thinking, and I was like, honey, that ain't trying to hurt you. He's waiting to die. Like he's put down his irons. And then I
Oh,
realized
yeah.
that he's put down his irons, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. And I was started thinking too, like, if you were born to die and you're just waiting for the cold, what does that life look like? And
Yeah.
so the kind of a colder, gritty Western feel came, and then started typing away.
It's such a fun concept, not just for those of us who love comic books. Your kids are going to love this too. Like it's just going to be one of those fun comic books. Depending on the age of your kids, that you can sit down and read with your kids and enjoy
Yeah,
with your kids. And it's cool that you kind of made it for that based off an experience that you had with your daughter.
yeah, and it's great. There's definitely it upper on the age appropriacy a little bit. There's a number of themes there that really does stick true to the old West being as gritty as it is.
Yeah.
My son maybe for sure. My daughter will give her a couple years.
Okay.
But no, but it's great. I would definitely say it's great. I guess your demographic would be somewhere, teenage and up, so to speak. But yeah, if you were the goofy kid that was always quoting Tombstone, if you said something Doc Holliday every 5 seconds, there's some good
Dude,
ones
I
there
think
too.
we all did when that movie came out.
Oh man, There's a couple little nods. I'm
Yeah.
trying not to be blunt and do this and do that, but there are nods to things that I appreciate that I didn't want to let disrupt the story or influence.
Mhm.
In fact, whenever I started rewriting this, I told myself like I was not going to rewatch all my old spaghetti western movies.
Oh, you did anyway.
No, I didn't. I didn't.
What?
I've rewatched a handful of them now. I'll tell you that. I rewatched A Fistful of Dollars. But no, I'm telling you, I wanted to stay away from them.
Yeah.
Have them not over influence anything like that. And really, it's funny. It's a western through and through, but the
Mhm.
storyline is really just inspired by random bug facts that make
Yeah.
for just really cool content.
No, that's one of those where it wasn't that long ago, and I think I lost a day of my life on this one because I had seen an old John Wayne clip, and I'm like, Hulu, John Wayne, and just started watching like westerns.
Uh
And
huh.
by the time I realized it, my entire day was gone, and I was like, well, I guess I'm not doing laundry now.
Yeah.
So, it's fun when it happens, but at the same time, you're like, damn, I just wasted a whole entire day where I needed to do other things on top of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
So,
you can't really devote that time to anything productive. You're not going to be on
yeah,
a
no,
Clint
that day's
Eastwood
gone.
trivia show. Yeah.
Yeah. But so who are some of the key characters in this story? And I know we got our main character who is the Wasp, but
So
what
we
else are we looking at?
we really follow. There's a broad cast, and what I can't wait for issue 2 and 3 to come out because some of my favorite people are brought in. So looking over the series, there's a lot of great characters. Issue 1 kind of works as a world builder, intro builder, specifically for our two main protagonists, well, antagonists, Hanny, villain, hero, whatever. Where Slick Prick, Paper Wing, and Odd Drop Pop Pop. Now, this issue, majority in the most of the art that you've seen of the Wasp on the page are going to be from Odd Drop Pop Pop, who is the living legend who aspires to be the first to never lose. And we
Mhm.
follow him for the majority of the story. That kind of helps build our backdrop for Slick Prick Paper Wing and to tell his story. So Once Upon a Hive itself is the ballad of Prick Paper Wing, but you'll find issue 1, A Pistol for Pop Pop, is heavily involved.
Okay.
Pop Pop being a character who was meant for issue 1 that I loved so much. We've done a number of things. We get to keep him around and play with him a little bit more as we get into kind of the other themes of the later in the issue.
Mhm.
So we do start off with a much more grounded, Western-based, introducing our world, getting y'all comfortable with all the bugs and bees and butterflies. But our two main protagonists, yeah, Paper Wasp. We have the Dirty Dauber Gang, which are Dirt
Dude,
Daubers.
I love that. I love that name.
The Dauber Six. They're I love them, man. They're great characters, and they're inspired by a number of rednecks that I've known for a while.
Dude, you live
And
in a state full of all of them.
oh man, oh yeah, come on now. But I live in Memphis myself too, so I'm in Memphis, Tennessee, and so I'm kind of in this weird limbo of Tennessee. But we have it all.
I mean,
Uh,
your Bass Pro is a pyramid, all right?
I still, yeah, I love it because of the song. I used to go there and watch basketball games all the time as a kid,
Yeah.
and
Dude, I remember when Tyson fought there.
yeah, Lennox Lewis. That's right, Tyson
Yep.
Lennox Lewis. That's right. I love Memphis. Love my town.
There's a soul food restaurant right up the road from it that is absolutely phenomenal.
Countless. We got some good food down on Beale Street as well. I'm a big fan of a lot of our local taco vendors and our food
Mhm.
trucks throughout Memphis are
See,
rad.
that's
I love
new.
them.
They didn't have that back when I lived local to that area.
Yeah. Well, they've
But
hipstered out a couple areas around here, so it's a lot of pop ups and
I seen
breweries
that
and
last time I drove through.
yeah, a lot more flannel than you would have outside of winter.
I will
But
say the roads there have greatly improved to its more eastern neighbor of Knoxville.
oh, I can agree with that. Memphis potholes are nuts, man. I drive a Jeep, so it's the
Yeah.
suspension's already terrible. So I could complain about our roads all day, but I won't. But yeah, there's a number of aside from again the two paper wasps, we have a butterfly brothel, which was a very interesting conversation with the artist.
Oh yeah.
It's nothing like doing character concept work and being like, hey man, I know they're butterflies, but lingerie something, skank them up a little bit. That was a very hilarious conversation to have, an understanding. But no, and there's a whole gang of locusts. We have Miss Widow, who runs the butterfly brothel, and we have the proprietors of the Hive Haven strip that come
Mhm.
into play very largely. There's also my favorite Sheriff Buzzkill, who is of course a very large bumblebee who runs the sheriff station there. So
Mhm.
there's a big town of characters that come into play, and a large piece of the series is the consequences of what happens when a paper loss lives past winter. And
Yeah.
so it becomes, of course, old faces coming back for revenge, but also a little bit of a deterioration of our lead character's mind as he starts to actually struggle with what is real in this new season and what is not.
Mhm. Dude, I absolutely love this concept, and honestly, it's one of those where I'm like, you want to hit that fast forward button so we can get to this point of this comic book actually releasing, so it can be in people's hands.
Yeah, no, and it's tough. And I'll say it as a creator too, getting your stuff out there. When you're indie guy, even new, when you have one or two, three or four issues that you're pushing out, it's a lot different from the guy who's talking to the first one.
Mhm.
So I'm looking to get this first issue in y'all's hands, do it right, make it well, because we are looking for immediately hitting ground with issue 2, 3, 4, 5. There's only 7, and like I said, we have a little goofy Halloween special that I just had to
Yeah.
have, that we're going to do in total. And then that's it. Everything's scripted out. Everything's done. We're done with colors and paging when it comes to issue 1, moving on to lettering and editing and getting real
Yeah.
close, guys. Getting real close.
Dude, I like it. I like the fact that you're almost there and everything's being laid out properly. But so who are some more of the artists and kind of collaborators helping bring this story to life?
Yeah, and I actually might have, well, 1 or 2 updates for the couple things I got going on. But the guys writing the ship right now, Billy Micaiah Kanza, who's been the penciler and inker, has been awesome. Like I said, I'm working on a number of different projects right now. He has been the most responsive, just respectful on it. Good
Yeah.
communication, great concept work. Really happy to have been working with him. And his color is Jorge Elias, who's with, of course, the team I was mentioning before, Fiction
Yeah.
Comics. So they're doing a lot of work on the Fallen 7 right now. Elias has been on the cover of a number of real good works. Some silly stuff. One of them I think was called the Alabama Alligator something something, but it
Yeah.
was real good. Well, when I saw his work, I was like, all right, we're moving forward with these guys.
Yeah.
So those have been the leads so far. I'm actually working with a guy right now, Noah Carabello. He's with Edge Comics.
Mhm.
He's going to be doing our variant cover that's in the works right now. That we're going to have with our Kickstarter, which I'm going to have feature a little bit more of Slick Prick Paperwing to kind of give him
Yeah.
his due justice, as is his series, but in the
Mhm.
fat of it, this issue in a way is Pop Pops.
I like it, man. So what was your creative process like? Did you start with a full script, or how has this process been for you? Like a full up collaboration at the same time, or did you literally sit down, write out this nice big script for the full 7 issues, and then kind of like we chopped here for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah.
6?
So I write a lot of short stories, and I always look for goofy reasons to write them, and the sillier the better. I usually write about 10 to 12 pages, and I'm writing something. I usually know if I'm going to want to keep playing with it or not. And so Pop Pop was the first one created. And I had, ideas in my head for him about what the story would be. And I wrote probably a good 15, that's it, 15, 16 pages of
Mhm.
scripting for All Drop Pop Pop, and loved it so much. And the other characters kept on developing around it. And this antagonist that I had been writing out the entire time, there was a point where I had to sit down and I was like, no, this is the protagonist. Like this is who we're about. And so once I really started to paint more in the light of Slick Prick, it just opened up. And
Yeah.
so the concepts of it really have changed once or twice in the first 2, 3 weeks of inception. And
Mhm.
then I wrote script one of what is actually what you will be reading Once Upon a Hive, and it was clear to me at that ending the way I specifically wrote it how much I wanted to do and how much groundwork I'd laid. So I went to write a quick synopsis of what I would do for an issue two, and had
Yeah.
the synopsis for the series done. And so I decided, I was like, wow, so I'm going to really deep dive into this. And so I did more bug research, had more fun,
Mhm.
learned about more about them. Because again, it's the more you know about your characters, the more of the world you're going to be able to build.
Yeah.
And, the palette of who these characters were right there in everyday kind of silly things and just personified by who they would be almost in the Wild Wild West. And then it's very character driven. I think this story was more so.
Mhm.
But yeah, so started off just 16 pager, turned into a full script, said I can't be done with this, added more to the first script and just synopsis the entire story.
Yeah.
And then over the course of maybe about a month or two, took the time to script well out the rest of it.
Okay. So what has surprised you the most during the production of this comic book?
It's attraction, it's weirdness. I have a lot of
I
different.
will agree with that.
Yeah, it's far out, and I have some your run of the mill sci-fi stuff. I'm a big horror guy. I love sci-fi horror.
Mhm.
Goofy stuff. Like I think the Iron Lung movie that just came out was brilliant. Loved it. Loved
E-
everything about it. So like
Everybody did because that movie like racked up on the weekends.
I was writing. I mentioned earlier. I don't know if this was beforehand or not. That I was writing a submarine story. I stopped.
I think that's while we were before we went live.
Yeah, I was writing a story and doing a lot of research for it, and watched Iron Lung, and I just put it away. I was like, they did an existential Lovecraftian horror in a submarine. That's what
Mhm.
I was writing. They did it better. We're gonna let them have
Yeah.
that. Um, Sorry, I went off the rails. So I'm sorry about that, bud.
No, you're good.
Oh, what were we on?
What has surprised you the most during the production of the comic book?
Yeah, the attraction of it. I write a number of weird different things. Like I said, write a number of short stories. When I started talking to this one, to my buddies and to my wife, it was kind of you sure? And so, and when you have a number of projects that are locked and ready to go, and it's a matter of which ones you're going to put budget into, which ones are you going to start producing,
Mhm.
there's a lot of conversation. And there was conversation of, do you think Hive's one of them? Do you sure you don't want to do, this one instead? And I was like,
Yeah.
no, man. I was like, it was just so fun when I wrote it. Like, it's got to be fun. And then I'm blown away happy about the uniqueness that people are finding from it.
Yeah. No, it's one of those where when you sent me the stills of the book, and that's what I turned into the hype video for this.
Yeah.
And I was just like, there was the two images that I used in the middle. One of them is kind of like the artwork for the top left hand corner,
Yeah.
and then the other one was like the full like wanted poster that
Yeah.
gives you the synopsis of the book. And I was like sitting there, I'm like, I had stuff ready to put there, and I was just like, I can't cover that. So
Yeah.
I ended up doing the first part of the hype video and the end and part of the hype video with the information that I wanted to, get across, because I just couldn't touch those two middle
Yeah.
pages that you had sent me. I was just like, this is too pretty, the freaking cover. I love the wanted poster that you had did with the
Yeah.
synopsis on it. I was just like, man, that's just too good. I can't cover that.
I told Billy Micaiah, I told him when we first started out, and I was like, when he was telling me too, and he was like, I'll have a lot of different side sketches for each different character. I was like, keep them all. I was like, every time you're doing like character work or something, just keep it for him, send it to me. And I ended up being able to play with a lot of his line work and do a lot of
Mhm.
cool marketing stuff. I'd say that as a advice for anybody who's brand new to have, whatever your artist is working on, especially your work in progress, get it. If they're making videos and stuff, get it.
Yeah,
People
that's some of my
love
favorite stuff
see
to
it.
watch.
100%, absolutely.
And right
So,
now, your Instagram is full of those.
yeah, I'm learning. Unfortunately, this algorithm motion that we're in right
Yeah,
now.
good luck. It'll change tomorrow.
That's I've been hearing that. Yeah, I'm hearing that. So it's tough. I want to say that it's tough because you want to get what the algorithm wants, which is these shorter form things and
Mhm.
everything. That works for a world that is created and out there and has a fandom. You know, you can do a slim shot of Battle Beast, and the whole image comic world knows exactly what's this and that. To try to sell something to your reader, not just, and what I mean sell, I mean to purvey a thought to someone
Mhm.
in that shorter form is tough. So I'm actually going to be looking to see what I can do about, I don't know, changing things up. But yeah, I love making the videos and reels, man. They're fun.
I'm laughing because, and I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing because that is the struggle I have for every single interview I do, because every single one is different. So
Uh-huh.
I try to keep it to my flair of the podcast, right? And make it about the person, because I'm literally marketing you for the podcast.
Right.
But it has to be different and it has to be unique each time.
Yeah.
And it's just, and I laugh at myself because I'm like, the exact thing you just described, doing it for one project, I do up to 18 sometimes a month,
Yeah.
which that number is getting slashed in greatly starting in April, because I
Yeah.
March is like, fuck, I just want to survive March, to be fair.
I saw your lineup and I was like, he's working. I was like,
Yeah,
you're
dude.
working.
April is, like I said, I did a drastic cut down in April. May, I'm taking a vacation for a week, so that's going to help. But end goal is probably 10 to 12 a month, and that's still a lot compared to what some people do.
Yeah. No, I can
And these
see
are
that.
all live. Everything is unique to the person coming on. It's not generic.
Yeah.
Everything is like, as I was telling you before we had went live, I literally build each interview to the person. The man hours I put in to learn who you are, and to go to your social media. I do the research, I find
Yeah.
questions, and I make everything literally about the person. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot. And this month is going to be a struggle, but I'm going to get through it like I always do.
Yeah. That's a lot, aside from the actual interviewing aspect, that's a lot of the marketing aspect
This is
as
the easy
well.
part.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the easy part right here. Getting to
I,
talk to
I,
DK.
I'd say the same thing. It sounds crazy. It's not easy building a comic book. It's a much more complex machine than anyone would assume. But building it's the writing is the easy part. Like being a comic book writer is like, yeah, that's the fun part. Getting involved, and I want to thank too, like a number of creators out there that have set the tone for it, made it, yeah, more acceptable, more common to get out there and promote your stuff. The Kickstarter style, the social media style,
Mhm.
because few of us, I think, would have ever have gone on, put our face somewhere, and started talking about something, put ourselves out there,
Yeah.
been aware how big the marketing and social media aspect is to the entirety of the project. And yeah, you're right. This is creating, and having fun collaborating. That's the easy part.
Oh, 100%. So you're working in an indie space where creators often wear multiple hats. What advice would you give to someone who wants to start their own comic?
Um, my dad gave me advice in the beginning of this when I asked him a question about something, and he told me it takes a wise man to understand that sometimes someone else can do it better than you. And I mean it. And I think what I took from that is I aspired to do all my lettering. I aspired to do a number of different things myself. I'm gonna hand over lettering. I just did hired a guy just a week and a half ago, to
Mhm.
go ahead and get started on a number of things for the lettering, because I'm taking a look at the quality that Billy and Jorge have provided for me as an illustrator. The quality, not to toot my own horn, that I feel like I've given this story. And do I want to debase that by, let's see if I can do it.
Yeah.
And there are things, and I have webtoons, and there I'll be practicing lettering, and I'll be trying to be more
Yeah.
professional about how I go to do so. But do I really want to have a lower quality lettering? It's going to look terrible just because, like, I really want to do it myself. I want to do it
Mhm.
myself. The guy I just hired is going to do it a lot better. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I would say, there's a handful. I would give you 1,000 pieces of advice if you're a new creator. But aside from that one thing, I'll say just do it. A lot of this is just throwing stuff into the sky and being surprised. What I'm not saying throwing spaghetti and poor quality at the wall. I'm saying just being brave enough to just do it.
Mhm.
We live in a world where people think that like somebody's a famous writer because they're a famous writer. They were born to be a famous writer. Majority of the famous writers you know had normal jobs. The greatest writers you've ever known have the greatest jobs. Greatest artists you've ever seen had normal jobs. Um, don't sell yourself short in an art space. Just do it. Don't ask
Mhm.
permission. There are no rules, literally none, aside perhaps copyright. But like, there's none. Just
Yeah.
do it. Nike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's funny is like that goes back to when you're building a business or a brand is to surround yourself, with people smarter than yourself. Because if you're the smartest person in the room, you've already fucked that up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
absolutely. I've said this for a long time too, and I've worked in a number of different things. I won't get into what I've done career-wise and everything, but the best resource in the world will always be another person who's done something before.
mhm.
And I'm telling you this as a reader who I'm telling you this as somebody who uses Google. I'm telling somebody who looks for things for advice. A person in front of you will always be a better resource. Talk to these people that have done it before, listen to their advice about Kickstarters, about story writing, about not getting overly involved in things you don't want to get overly involved in. Be receptive. And when it's your
Mhm.
turn, teach somebody what you can.
Yeah. So I can't remember if we talked about this. Actually, no, we already talked about this. This is one of the first things we talked about was the community for indie comics today.
Mhm.
But so we'll scroll over that one and go to this. What role do you think social platforms play in building an audience for comics like this?
I mean, right now it's huge. To be honest with you, I can't imagine how you guys would have gone about it beforehand. Look, we don't live in a day and age where people have thousands of dollars to pay artists to do this unless they have some type of budgeting or getting crowdfunding or anything. I don't really understand how like 90s indies guys would have got off the ground. The bigger guys that we respect and know that we call Emmy like indie, like Image, were founded by people that were already very successful in a very successful industry.
Mhm.
I think it plays a massive role. I never once thought I didn't get on Facebook before I started comic books. I didn't get on
Yeah.
Instagram, TikTok, or anything like that. I felt old asking my friends advice about how to build a TikTok and do all this and do all that. But it's
Yeah.
paramountly important. It's very important. Which does kind of sting to say that there is an extent to where creative community is being with. I mean, there is an algorithm, there is a madman science behind something you really don't have that much control over.
Mhm.
So again, advice to new people: learn it. You're gonna have to, start treading this water because it's
Oh,
part of it.
100%.
It's
And
part of it.
and social media has been wonderful, and don't take it slow. Your brand
Yeah.
will grow as you do. When that moment is right, it's going to hit the right way, and you're going to find your audience. So, but what else is coming for disco punk?
Oh man. Probably more than I should. We have Once Upon a Hive, and we're ready for issue 2 ASAP. ASAP. Ricky Recoil is a very fun manga that I've been working on. I originally did not want it to be a manga, and I even said when I was like looking and listing for an artist for this, it's not going to be that guy. And some guy sent me something. I was like, yeah, I can see that. And I was like, man,
Mhm.
it just really changed the way I looked at it. But Ricky Recoil is going to be great. I said when I first started that I didn't do superheroes.
Sorry, I'll be right back. I got to check something.
Oh, you're good, buff.
I apologize to everybody who is watching at home right now. One of my cats sounded like it was struggling to get a hairball up, so I had to go Thankfully, this microphone and stuff like cuts a lot of background noise out. So,
No,
but
you're
I kept
good.
hearing it in this ear, and I'm like, yeah, I'm like, come on, dude.
No,
Like, I'm
you're
trying
all
to
right.
work here.
Cat's all good though, right?
Yeah, no, he'll be fine. He's a long hair, so it's
Yeah,
one of those where his it happens with him.
yeah.
But so Ricky Recoil.
Yeah, Hot Back Ricky Recoil is gonna be real fun. Definitely a sci-fi driven. Don't want to give too much away. Go ahead, social medias right away. Check out that one. We have a lot of content on that. A lot of works in progress that are coming
I
out.
mean, dude, there's a lot of stuff on your Instagram.
Well, and a couple of the projects I'll talk about real quick. We haven't really released yet, that we haven't really brought to the public. So the couple of big ones right now, of course, Ricky Recoil, Once Upon a Hive, and we have the Fallen Seven, which of course fiction
Yeah,
comics,
that was yep.
and they have some great stuff there. They really do. I want to maybe as much as help as I can to get this out because I read the story as a writer. I love it, and writers don't always like everybody else's stuff. So I mean, it's one of those things. I read it and I was like, oh man, that was a good idea.
Yeah.
So great story. Very excited to talk about this one real quick, and I'm going to be releasing information on this. I had a buddy that passed away about 2 years ago named JC, and growing up, he would tell these infatuated stories that just were not true, and we would find out like 5 years later at a
Dude,
party
growing
that
up
they
in the
were.
South, we all had that one friend.
Oh, wait, so he told this story one time, and this is where I got the inspiration for it, where he was telling me, he was like, he talked like this, and he was like, so I was in a fight with a dude, and I put my arms like this on the wall, and I just like scissor kicked him in the face. And we're like, JC, that didn't happen. But 5 years later, like after high school, I'm talking with some guy, and he was like, oh, you were friends with JC? And I was like, yeah. He was like, dude, I was in 7th grade with him. He scissor kicked some dude in the face. And I'm like, that can't be true. But anyways, he's a really good guy. He would tell these crazy stories that just could not be true, and then you'd find out that were. So when he passed away, and he was a big hippie. He had a smiley face tattoo on his butt, all the stuff. But he passed away. I wrote this story called JC McSmileyface Spaceman. So we have a webtoon that's going to be kind of coming up. It's going to be voice acted and a couple things, but it's basically the story of a very embellished space adventure that my buddy JC had. And it's very potty mouth humor. It's really teenage stoner flick. It's going to be a real good time. But we're bringing
Yeah.
that in. Gosh, what else? Because there's more coming. And then I'm working with a very rather talented, well-known artist around the social media community to a 60-page one-shot that has been in slow production for a while.
Dude, that is a graphic novel.
It had to be. So many people at times come to me, you thought about breaking that down? And I'm saying, no. So that story is Genesis. That is the creation of the universe into which everything I have written lives in. And it's a great story. It's definitely kind of the opus ode to art. It was ode to my mom, and really heartfelt story, sci-fi story. That's in slow production right now. Not going to be good. My dogs are coming out. It's going to be a second before we get that one really where we need it to be. I have heard horror stories about people crowdfunding for longer projects, even getting the funding and still messing it up.
Dude, I've seen some really
way.
successful ones out there where I know somebody who has they just funded the second part of their graphic novel series, and the third part is coming soon. So stay tuned, everybody. They will be back. But that's a complete misconception, I believe. It's really all about how you and people you're creating this book with utilize their social media to push people to that project.
Yeah.
So for people to say, oh, well, they don't do as well, that is not true at all.
Oh, not that they don't do as well. I think with the additional longevity of the project, with the time that it takes to create, from what I've just, again, before I started doing anything, I spent like a year just talking with people, hearing the goods, hearing the bads, and there was a number of things that shined through to me about people that have made mistakes with larger projects, getting funded early or missing funding, or, going 50 pages in a 70 pager and not getting there.
Yeah.
So we're doing things slow way. I mean, we're taking our time. We're doing it right. We're making sure it's getting done. And it to me is one of the biggest pieces close to my heart. So I really want to make sure it's done with care. And then in the back of it, like I said, I may have said this in podcast. I've just been writing this story, daydreaming since I was about 15 years old. There will come a day. Well, Disco Punk will be doing something called Eaters. But when we get there, I'm going to make sure I have my own Ryan Otley to my Kirkman. Like I need somebody.
Yeah.
We got a long way to go, baby. So want to make sure we're buckled in, and I
Dude,
also want to make sure.
what a combination to want to have your own part of.
Who couldn't want one?
Dude.
I've said that to so many people. Like, could you just be my Otley, man? Could you just work with me on everything that I really want you to?
Yeah.
Like,
those two put their name on anything. A brown paper bag, it's gonna sell.
Well,
it's gonna be the damn most creative brown paper bag you've ever seen.
Yeah, it's just the partnership of it. That's what I long for. I really want nothing more. And then I love all the artists that I have now, especially all the artists I have for the series will remain on the series. They will be my guys. But yeah, you're definitely always looking for, especially the series that I want to do when I'm ready for it is long. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of factors. There's a lot of worlds to build. There's a lot of different sections, areas. It's going to take someone who's really, really, this is a long haul deal. And also I think as well, it's easier once you have a little bit more traction to want to be in a place to set up so many consecutive successful campaigns to get something done.
Yeah. And that does start to eat at you after a while, from what I hear.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm fresh. I'm real green. Hey, I'm learning every day I go. I'm coming out swinging with a lot of stuff. I've done a lot of research, but I also do understand that there's just so much to learn. And so, like I said, every different street that I'm on, there's a new way to cross the street every time. And so there's a lot of you ask, what type of hats, what type of roles do you play? It's a lot. If you want to be a writer, if you've written a story and you want to bring it to life in the form of a comic book, you have to put on a producer's hat. I've worked in management for the majority of my life. Managing an artist is a very different thing than managing somebody who's employed by a company you also work for. And there's a lot of there are artists out there that work at different paces, and you got to learn different personalities, who's going to work with what, how things are going to go. So yeah, you wear a manager's hat, a producer's hat, a funder's hat, a marketer's hat. Get ready. So all worth it. I feel that. Mega worth it. But get ready. You're having some fun.
Oh yeah. So what do you see as your long-term vision, not just for the label, but let's say 5 years from now? How would you define Disco Punk success?
5 years from now, I kind of know what I want in 5 years from now in 3 categories. As for me, DK Biggs, I in the next 5 years want to continue to learn illustration so I can maybe one day start working on my own variant covers and attributing to my own illustrative. That's my 5-year goal, is in the next 5 years. I've been working for the past year or so. I'm still trash. Probably still going to be trash for 5 years, but I'm having fun. For Disco Punk Comics itself, I want to see successful traction for the series that I have here. And I want to become, again, somewhat of an information hub or a community, Disco Punk as a community for people to learn how to do this right, find people to collaborate with. I'm inspired by a number of people. In indie comics, you'll see some guy who's lone wolfing it and trying to get everything done and freelance and everything. And then you'll come across every now and then teams. And doesn't everybody long to be a part of one,
Oh yeah.
So I would love to cultivate and continue growing my room of artists and teammates, and then more letterers, editors, and just more people along the way. So I can sit back, write, produce, and have people that have their own hats that are helping me out. That'd be nice in 5 years.
Don't blame me there, man. I think that's the ultimate goal for not just you, but a lot of creators out there, even for guys like me. Like, I would love to be able to get to a point where I write the interview, I do the interview, I then take said interview and I slide it over to my guy over here who he mates my clips and he does my social media, and I can just focus right here where I want to be.
Yeah. Well, and two, and I'll
So,
say this as the aspiration, and I'll make it quick. I know we're probably close on time.
you're good.
You know, when you look at some of the success, well, again, indie is a very broad term. When you look at people that are like Dark Horse or Image or anything, they do have teams to where a writer's doing this, a penciler's doing this, an inker's doing this, a colorist is doing this, an editor's doing this. You'll find yourself when you start out, more roles and responsibilities come to a smaller team. So if I were to aspire to get to one of my favorite series that I really can't wait to show to the world, it's going to come with a team. Because you need to consistently be releasing issues, not to lose too much of the track mind of the viewers and fans.
No, once you got something good going, you want to keep it going.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you lose the traction on it. Nobody knows DK, so if that traction's gone, it's gone. You may not get that back. Whereas a Robert Kirkman takes it like, hey guys, I need to take a 3-month break from writing this series.
Yeah,
I will be back. He pops back up in 3 months. It's like he was never gone anyway because his name is Robert Kirkman. Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, and then there's a number of writers that work under him to do this and do that in those worlds too. And I'll also say this, and this is maybe because I did not. Luckily, with the research I did not share this delusion, but I've had a number of people that I've seen either come to me or I've posted online and whatnot. If you're a writer, if you've made the idea, you're going to have to budget it. You're going to have to figure it out. Like you're not gonna put a script on Facebook and Dark Horse is going to be like, all right, son, let's make you a star. Like, get ready. Like, so, you be aware that that's part of it. Artists don't want to work for free. The idea can be
they're not going to either.
Yeah, exactly. The idea can be the greatest thing in the world. But I see it all the time in posts and stuff, and I see kids get thrashed by it. And I wish I could have reached out to them and it's like, hey, let me help you. This is how we find artists a different way. Like, this is how we save a couple bucks and maybe pay 1 or 2 pages a month or do something. But like saying, hey, I've seen people on there, I have a 52 issue synopsis written. Who wants to do it all for free? Let's split the money. Or it's like, well, Google the type of indie sales you're going to see. Give yourself a realistic budget. Look at it from a business standpoint. Have 2 devils on your shoulder. One that wants to create things blindly, carefree, and the other one's that's making sure that your pockets are okay and you're not leading yourself down that road.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it's amazing what a simple Google search will tell you right off the hand.
No kidding. It's but anyways, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No. You trust me. You definitely want to go.
No, I was just going to say on Google as well. There's a number of things that, so as a writer and a producer, you are going to look at things very differently from other people that are in the market that are more so freelancers. I heard somebody say this. I don't entirely believe this, but to an extent, some comic book artists are there to draw pages, not to create books. You are the one creating the book. You are the brainchild. You're the one doing all this. Be very aware of that concept that like I'm not sure where I was really going with this, but like,
so I think I know where you're going with this. So what you're trying to portray here is, or purvey, some artists have to have their hands held. And what I mean by that is you give them your story, but they need more than that. They need to know what your characters are looking at. For instance, if you have a character facing this way and you want them to be looking at something specific on that screen that way, they want you to tell them, are they facing east? Are they facing west?
Yeah.
Are they facing north? Provide your artist the guidance that you're looking for. Don't just give them the story. Purvey your idea to that artist so they can interpret your story and your idea and your thought the way that you intend it to be.
Because you can unintentionally allow an artist to change your story entirely. And that's a fact. And it's not a slight to them. It's just that this came from your brain. They are translating, like and so that's a big piece of it. But yeah, it's just go out there, meet people, be respectful, also be aware, especially depending on where you're finding artists. If there are scams,
always plenty of them.
It's a whole world out there, no matter where you are.
Contracts.
Yeah.
Google Docs will create simple contracts with signatures that are legal.
Set
That's all I'm saying.
absolutely clear expectations. Timeline. Talk about timeline.
Yep.
I mean, there's a thousand things I could talk literally for the next hour about do's and
Oh, dude,
don'ts.
I could too, and that's another show for another time. I'll
Yeah,
bring you back for that one with some of the other people that I know
gotcha.
that are really good at this, and we'll have a roundtable about that one
That sounds good. Yeah,
because I got some thoughts on that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
just be mindful of who you're working with, their limitations, what they need to make your dreams come true is the short stick of that.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
But DK, I'm going to hit you with some rapid fire questions. You ready?
Oh, let's go.
Favorite comic of all time?
Favorite comic of all time is The Boys, hands down.
Ooh, fucking good one, dude. I'm happy that we're getting season 5, but I'm also sad that we're getting season 5. You know what I'm saying?
I love it because they're so different. It's just watching a new interpretation of the characters almost.
It really is. But if I don't get the comic book ending, I will fucking write
You
that
can't.
down.
You
You
can't.
can,
Noir's dead.
except for that part. But you
Okay.
can.
Spoiler. Sorry. Well, they've already killed him in the show. Okay.
They killed one of them. The fake one is still there.
Yeah. So The Boys to me, and I'm gonna make a joke, is my Forrest Gump because it's one of my favorites, but it's also you're gonna cry specifically like 2 times.
Yeah.
I'll never, the first time reading this, it cracked me up so hard because I was like tearing up, and my wife looked at me, and I was just like, Starlight and Huey are separating, but they both know they shouldn't. They both know they're wrong. But anyways, too, that's ones where if you're reading that, you got to make sure no one's looking over your shoulder because it's just graphic. But yeah.
Oh, there's a reason why it says graphic on the cover.
It's gnarly.
But favorite Western.
Favorite Western, if it counts as a Western, which it should, it's No Country for Old Men.
Fucking brilliant. I love that movie. Oh my God, that's so good.
Yes.
Creator you would love to collaborate with.
I don't even know if I should say it. There's some dude I've talked to once or twice. It's a really, really, really high up guy that's just been probably nice to be messing to me because like I'm a fan. Todd Beats. I would kill for a Todd Beats cover.
Dude, phenomenal artist.
Great guy. Great dude.
Dude, that's the way I feel about Aubrey Sitterson as a writer who writes Free Planet for Image right now.
Yeah.
The story and everything going on currently in the world is just the perfect time for that story to land. But it's just an absolutely beautiful story about what it truly means to be the first free planet.
Yeah.
To truly be free.
Well, I think too, and I've said this to Todd. I put messages on there once or twice, and we talked about. We're not like friends or anything, but he's been nice again. Probably responded to me, and was just like he writes these amazing pieces, and they're not like he's just talking about how he feels, like the struggles of being an artist, the issues that he's gone through. And he writes these amazing pieces, and I'm a writer, and he says he's not. Yeah. He is. And
dude, it's wild, right? That how good some of these artists are at writing. But you ask them to write a comic, but they'll be like, no, that ain't what I do. You write beautifully. Why not? I will interpret your story for you. I'll draw your story.
Like character creation. If I could illustrate, that would just be so good. I love world building, and so that's one of the reasons why I aspire to do so. But I look at so many different artists, and one of the ways I found the artist that's going to be working on Genesis is just seeing his art, and I saw it, and I was like, that is Disco. Like that's the character I've thought about since I was 17 years old. There he is.
All right, one word to describe disco punk.
Disco.
Fucking love it. Let's go. Let's go, DK, man. DK, tell everybody where they can find you and Disco Punk Comics.
You can check out Disco Punk Comics on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. We've recently opened up on Threads just because I like to talk with people a little bit more, and you seem to be a lot more talkative there. Reach us out there. We should have a website that I'll have links to by the end of this month that's in production right now. I'm not good at building it. Having a friend help out. Sorry for the delay.
I like it, dude. I like it. Once you got more links, if you want to shoot those to me, I can go back and re-add those to this show as well.
And then
So,
the kicks, you can find me at Disco Punk Comics on the Kickstarter. I have not launched the project
yeah,
yet.
so
Yes, for
you
once
can
upon a
follow
time.
the creator though, and if you follow the creators, and once they launch a project, it gives you like, hey, Disco Punk just launched a new
Yeah,
campaign.
yeah,
So that's really cool, and that's what I do a lot of is I just follow the creator.
yeah,
So, but every creator builds something different. Some build heroes, some build worlds, and some build entire hives. Tonight we spoke with David Biggs, aka DK, the creator behind Once Upon a Hive in the West and the mind behind Disco Punk Comics, a project that shows just how powerful independent storytelling can be. Because the future of comics isn't just happening at major publishers, it could be happening in garages, in notebooks, on drawing tables, or in the minds of creators who decide to build their own frontier. If you've enjoyed this conversation, make sure to subscribe to the USDN podcast for more creator interviews, more indie comic spotlights, and the stories from behind the panels. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the USDN podcast, where indie comics come to life. The council is now adjourned. Y'all be safe out there.
yeah. Take care, guys.